Hello, I'm Pastor John Baird, the Associate Pastor at Eastgate Community Church, and I'm here this afternoon with author Shane Reinhardt. He's the author of He is the Pen, and I Am the Paper, and his new book that's about to come out called Thankful to be Useful. Shane, welcome, and how are you?
Doing great, John. How's it going?
Really good, really good. It's really an honor to interview. I read your first book, He is the Pen, I'm the Paper. I absolutely loved it. Really looking forward to Thankful to be Useful when it comes out. Can't wait, but I just wanted to interview you today. I wanted to find out a little bit about you. You know, you're an interesting guy. The book you wrote, the way that you dedicated your life to Jesus, and just a lot of the things that you do. So how about if I ask you a few questions today, and you can tell us all a little bit about yourself. Amen? Okay. Well, tell us a little about yourself, like where you grew up, your schooling, just things like that.
All right. I grew up in Amelia, and I lived there till about, I guess it was 6 years ago. Now I live in Bethel. I've spent most of my time in that area. I went to the Ohio Center for Broadcasting. When I got out of school, I also went to the Wexner Center for Arts. And finally, the School of Biblical Evangelism, trying to build up some background and get some help kind of into things I wanted to get into.
It's awesome. You know, just from reading the book, obviously God is using you in a mighty way. What about your family, your parents, siblings, children?
I've got a younger brother who's a lawyer in Florida. He's in Tampa. He works with a lot of the repossessions and the houses and the things that are kind of going on right now. And I've got a younger sister who's the youngest of all of us that she works in a law office too. My mom and dad both live in the area. My dad, he does a lot of work on houses, and he paints and things like that. He rehabs a lot of houses. He's kind of a jack of all trades, and everybody is pretty close to Amelia still, except for my brother, and we still like to get together all the time, and we're a very close family.
Amen. Children?
I've got one son. My son's name is Anton. He's a 6-year-old. Full of energy, keeps me really busy, keeps me really grounded sometimes. I always like to work with him on different things about Jesus and everything. And one day I was telling him, Jesus helped a lot of people. We need to help people. No sooner those words come out of my mouth, but at the gas station we were at, somebody's car was broken down. I had to give this guy a jump, and I was like, wow, God, thanks for putting that to work right away on me.
That's cool. That's cool. I know Anton, and I know what a wonderful dad you are to him, and he's really a blessed child to have you for a dad. So, how did you become a Christian? Tell me your testimony.
I became a Christian. It was the summer of 1996. I just got my license, and a friend of mine, I wanted to go to the movies, and he said, "Hey man, I can't go to the movies unless I go to church and everything." I was like, all right, we'll go to church. So I got in there, and all these people are singing, and they're nice, and they're shaking my hand and everything, and I'm like, man, this can't be real. I mean, come on. I'm just waiting for somebody to come out and say, surprise, it's all a big scam or whatever. But I never quit going after that. I started going Thursdays, and then with my work schedule, I wasn't able to start going on Sundays into the fall. And I started going on Sundays, and then from there, I was plugged in, man. There was no turning me away.
Amen. So how did the writing get started? The writing ministry. How did that come about? How did God lead your heart in that direction, and why did you really dive into it the way you have?
It's kind of crazy. When I first started writing, I didn't write anything faith-based related at all. I just couldn't. It wasn't coming through. And somebody asked me one day at work, they said, why don't you write anything like that? And they're like, what's that about? You think you'll ever be able to do that? And I was like, no, I'll never be able to do that. And no sooner than that seemed like that was all I was writing after that. I spent hours upon hours. I mean, I'd be working, I'd be driving and writing stuff down on napkins and everything. And I thought, okay, I've got all these notebooks full of all this stuff. What am I going to do with this? I mean, I don't know if I'm any good. Nobody's ever read any of it. So I got plugged in on AOL. They let you build like your own websites and stuff, and I started putting stuff on there. I got a really good response, and I was like, okay, this is good. And I was like, but I need more freedom to kind of do more with this. And a friend of mine by the name of Jim Moore, he builds websites, things like that. He's like, okay, I can get you started. And I started putting things on there, and I started getting a really good response. Within 9 years of having the website, I'd had over 1 million visitors. And that was just a total shock to my system. I get emails here and there from pastors, hey, keep doing what you're doing. I had a teenage girl who contacted me, and she said, I was thinking about committing suicide. And I found your website, and it just totally turned my life around. I was able to do Bible studies with people who didn't know anybody else. Like, I'd opened it up where I could contact people and do a Bible study over the phone from people like in Oklahoma City and different places like that, where it just opened up everything to me. And then I reached a point where I was like, all right, now I've got to do this all the time, because there's people counting on me to do this. There's people who need this stuff. And it was just totally grew from there.
That's really cool. A lot of people who write, they'll write and they'll just write, and usually it's just things that they write and then they push them to the side, you know what I mean? And these things stack up, whatever. But it just really is something that, what makes a person like you decide, you know what, I think now I've got something here that can be published. So how does that come about?
Well, with me, I'd had a few people read things that were really close to me, and they said, man, this is really good. You should be passing this on to other people. You need to reach a whole lot further than what you're reaching. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to do that? I don't even know how to get started. So I researched, and I was looking for different ways to get the book out. And I came across a publisher who published a lot of Christian books, novels, poetry, you name it. And I signed up with them and put out my first book. And that's only half the battle. It's like once I got that first book out, I was like, okay, now I got to get people to read this thing. Now I got to contact all these people and let people know, hey, this exists. And man, it was an unbelievable amount of work. The first book, everything I wrote that went into that took me about 8 years.
So what are your books about?
My books are about the Christian walk, all aspects of it, not just what I've experienced, but what other people have experienced. It's in a poetry form, but it's free form. Not all of it rhymes. Sometimes it's just thoughts on paper. And I've had a lot of people say, I hate poetry, but I love what you write, and I feel like I'm telling a story in these short poems. And it's something that anybody could relate to. I mean, anybody at any stage of their walk, of their faith in Christianity.
I know that you're involved in a whole lot of different things in the arts. I know that you do a lot more than just writing. I know you're involved in video, photography, things like that. Not just writing books, but scripts and things like that. You're a great editor and all these things. What role do you think the arts play in leading people to Jesus?